I am Maha. I'm Tia's best friend. That's what
That's her description, guys.
That's my pronoun. Okay. I am a mom of two, a wife, a really great friend to Tia.
Best friend.
I love to teach dance. I did media, but I chose to actually leave that for a while to raise my kids, and then I taught dance, and I've been teaching dance since.
Yeah.
And I get to spend lots of time with my kitties.
No.
Yeah. So that's me.
And I'm Tia. I am Maha's best friend. That is my description. But you guys already know probably because YouTube. I'm a YouTube content creator as well as on TikTok, on social media. I love creating content. I mainly talk about my life. I focus more on like family, lifestyle, that type of thing. And me and Maha have been talking about this. Like we were together, what was it, a week ago? Mm-hmm. And we were like, you know what, we should do a podcast. And I know everyone is doing this, but it's just, there's so many topics that I feel like I really want to talk about and so many things I know she wants to talk about. And so that's where we came up with the name. Actually, ChatGPT came up with the name. What's the name of this?
Good. From Lahore to Delhi. Right?
Yes.
Okay. I was like, is that the right one?
And I thought that was perfect because, you know, I feel like every Indian girl needs a Pakistani bestie.
And you recently posted about that. And then she came over and we're like, hey, I want a podcast. You want a podcast? Let's do something together. Actually, fun fact, we actually made our first YouTube video together.
Oh, wait, I don't even remember that.
Yeah, we
did. I took it down.
Yeah, before Tia had her own channel and she was going to do YouTube, we made our own video together.
Yeah.
And it was so silly. I don't even know what it was about. It was like about Bollywood or something.
I swear it was about Priyanka Chopra.
It was.
There was a conversation.
And it was like, looking back, it was so silly and mature. So I'm glad that didn't ever became our like online footprint.
Actually, guys, we posted it and then I got like one hate comment.
Just one.
And I freaked out and I got scared and I just shut it down. And so I was like, wait, I'm not ready for YouTube yet. Maybe I need to be more solidified mentally because you are always going to have haters. So I was like, let me just solidify myself a little bit more mentally and then come back online.
And for me, I also waited a very long time to post my first dance video. Like I didn't want to, you know, it takes a lot to put yourself out there. So with you, I can't even imagine, like, you have so much of your life online, which is a lot.
Yeah.
I'm a very private person, but I do love to post about dancing, and that is something that we really connect on. And Tia has been kind of paved that way for me, where we, you know, always...
Guys, she's actually such... Like, truly, when I say this, such an amazing dancer. Like, I learned dancing from her. I also left my high school to go follow her, to go to her high school. Like, I just wanted to be with her. Like, that was my attachment. And, like, yeah, she's such an amazing dancer. Like, when I see her move, I literally see elements of, like, Deepika, Madhuri, but mainly Madhuri. And I see those...
Like crazy.
I know. It's just... I don't know how to explain it. It's the flow of her hands. It's like... I don't know. It's
Tia
so delicate.
is my best friend because she has just been my hype woman since day one. Like, I kid you not, I don't think you've ever said anything negative towards me. It's just good stuff. It's always motivational. It's always like a pep talk. It's always like, literally when I'm feeling like the absolute lowest, this girl will come in and be like, nope. You're like, what you're saying about me, like, I don't feel that way about myself. So that's the kind of friend that you should have.
Why are you gonna try to make me cry in the first podcast?
I'm sorry. No, like, it really, like, that is the kind of, if that you always need one friend like that in your life that's always uplifting you, like, no matter what. Like, that is what friendship should be.
I agree.
When you're in your absolute low, you've been there, I've been there, and it's always nice to just have a friend that kind of takes you out of that and pulls you out of that and sees you for your worth, right? Yeah. Like, you see me better than I see myself, and I'm sure that's kind of the way.
I see Maha as a real life princess.
So sweet.
But yeah, that's us in a nutshell. And you know, it was really funny. Even like back in the day, if she was visiting Lahore and I was in Delhi, we'd be like, oh, Veer and Zara, like waving to you with so much love.
Yes, we have an ongoing joke about being Veer and Zara. I think we really resonated with that movie because we're like, oh my God, that's the border where every day there's this ceremony,
and that border did not let her in for my wedding.
Yeah, that's another side story.
I feel like we're gonna get into a bunch of stories, but basically, quickly, she was not willing to get into that. Another time, she wasn't able to come to the wedding. There was a lot of things going on. Canadian, Pakistani double whammy going on right here.
Yeah. But lucky for me, she lives in Canada.
Yeah.
And she lives in my city. Or we live
Yeah.
in the same place.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about you moving to India and being in India forever. So
Yeah.
I still get to see her.
But one day Maha's going to see Delhi, and one day I want to
Yes.
see Lahore. Like, I really
That
want to
is,
see
yeah.
Lahore. Speaking of that, my grandmother's from Lahore, right?
Yes, I know,
Yeah,
you
so I
told
used
me.
to call her Amiji. So she's from Lahore, and so I always wanted to go back and just visit it and just see the whole town. Like,
I know. And same, my dad, it
your
was
dad's from,
one-
where is
yeah,
it? Where is it?
It's
Firozpur?
Firozpur,
yeah.
India. So, we always had this thing where on his passport it says India. So it's crazy that, we have so much history
Yeah.
in these cities
Yeah.
that we've never been to.
Yeah.
And, I always am, your whole photo shoot in front of the Taj Mahal and everything.
Yeah.
That's, goals for me. All I want to do is hire a photographer and be like, I'm going to run
We're going to
around.
make that happen one day. One day I'm going to visit Lahore, and she's going to come to India.
That would be amazing.
It'd be
that
one of
would
the best
make
things
for
ever.
a great we should do a whole documentary on that. That
I
would be
really-
amazing.
You know what? Honestly, before we get into anything, I have to say, having, we were talking about support and friendship, and I think that's so important to also talk about. Maha, I met you when I was, 14?
I don't even know. Yeah, I think 14, 15, around there. Yeah.
And so it's been, how many years is that? Hold on.
2024.
Whatever, however, how many years, but above 14 years, pretty much, right?
I think 19 years.
Okay, yeah. So, we have known each other for so long, and let me tell you a little thing about our relationship. We haven't once fought.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's coming up or something, because usually in a relationship and a friendship, there's fights and, good fights sometimes or bad fights, whatever it is. But her and I haven't. Right away, if something bugs her about me, she tells me. Something bugs me about her, nothing bugs me about her. But it would be the same thing. But her and I have that open relationship where we can talk about that. And I think that's so important, because leading into married life, I think it's also so important to have a friend that you can lean on and talk to about everything and get to see everything. And that's the same thing that happened with you and your husband. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I'm the third wheel of their relationship, and I love that. I grew up with this beautiful relationship. So yeah, it's so important to have that one friend that you can rely on when it comes to anything and everything. And you've literally been, I feel like this is more of my love letter to her than it is anything else.
Should I talk more about you? So Tia.
So I actually, this, I have a problem. As much as people see me on social media, when I'm with my friends, I actually don't talk about myself. I talk about...
Yeah, she's a very uplifting person for sure.
Period.
But
it doesn't look like that on social media, doesn't it? Because on social media, you're marketing yourself. So you look like a selfish... Pretty much.
Yeah, no, I don't think that way. I think a lot of people do take interest in your life. It's very interesting to be the daughter of your dad. I think that's a very cool thing. I would definitely be curious to know how your life is, what you're doing with it. I would totally want to know. If I didn't know you.
Yeah.
So actually, that's another thing about our story, is that when we met at some party, some random person's party. We were very young. And... we danced together. We just had a really fun time. And then at that point, you used to exchange phone numbers.
Yeah.
And we didn't have cell phones. So it was that's crazy. We
No,
didn't have cell
guys,
phones.
I identify as Gen Z. I'm not that old. I'm not that old.
We didn't have cell phones. So we had to give out our home phone number.
Yeah.
So I gave her my home phone number. Next day, I get a phone call. And I'm like, oh, baby, it's my new friend. I go check it.
No, but on the phone call, what did you receive?
Yeah, so I had caller ID, and on the caller ID it said Maha Bhatia. And I was like, Maha Bhatia to me was the uncle that played movies for at AMC and stuff.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, and that was actually a big thing. I don't know if the next generation knows this, but Indian movies didn't play in theaters.
Yeah,
you had to go
Dad
to
started
Albion
it.
Theater.
You had to go
and
Albion.
Albion was 100 hours away, and it was a big mission.
Oh, yeah.
To go there. You had to beg your parents, and you had to do this long ass drive and go to this weird ass mall to watch a movie.
Oh my god, Albion Mall.
Yeah, it was weird. That's not a place you want to hang out.
They had a shoe place called Alibaba. I'm remembering everything right now.
They did. Yeah. It was weird. Anyway, so her dad put
movies
at AMC, a regular theater. And I remember going in, and it was Hum Saath Saath, and that was the first movie I saw where your dad had put it on
So Dad did Fir Bhi Dil Hai Hindustani, Hum Saath Saath Hai, Gadar. He had a couple of movies that he had done But yeah.
So that's how I knew Uncle.
Yeah.
And then I saw it on my caller ID and I was like, why is Uncle calling me? That's weird, whatever. I pick up and it's Tia. And I was like, no, are you his daughter? No way. So I literally met her before I knew who Uncle was. Or I knew that they were. So I just feel like I know a very raw you, which a lot, like, people, I feel like most people you meet know you and association with your family.
Yeah.
But it was very interesting because we didn't meet like that. And it's so nice to meet somebody without that knowledge, without their background, and you literally connect just based on dancing, to be honest.
Literally dancing.
That's what we connected on, and that's literally, like, the rest is history. Like, we've been friends since.
Maha was this beautiful girl that I saw who can dance insanely, and it was love at first sight. That was it. It was strong love to the point where my mom questioned us, but that's a whole other conversation. It's another conversation.
Yeah, Tia is as a friend, she's a very possessive friend. She's very obsessive. I'm kidding. I mean that in the nicest way possible. She will hold on to like you're her. Like you belong to her, and she's like, okay.
Not that I own you.
Yeah, not in like a controlling. Obviously, not in a controlling way. I mean it in like the nicest, sweetest way possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you'll like hold on to somebody and like not let go. You're like, no, like this is my person now.
Yeah.
This is gonna be my person forever.
I think that stems from like, to be honest, I think it stems from adoption, which is like the perfect segue because it's so interesting because it literally is about like. You know, they talk about abandonment, right? So once I hold on to someone, they're my family. And once I've held on to you, you're my team, you're my lifeline, I carry you along with me. So it was, it was a lot of like trial and errors growing up because then, you know, we've come across like so many people that were like come and go. People that you think are going to stay forever, they don't stay. And it's so interesting because for me, like when I met her, it was like, that's my girl. She became my sister. And right away, life's just changed in a whole different direction. And I think like you're actually one of the people, like obviously my parents aside, but Maha's definitely one of the people in my life that taught me that blood is not thicker. It is literally love is thicker. Look at it literally is love.
Together.
We're water. We just water together. We're like Ganga and Yamuna. We just meet. But yeah, no, like honestly, like you genuinely taught me like you are my sister. I don't have to be related to you. I don't have to be blood. You're just somebody that I know that I want to carry my whole heart and carry on my life with. Like I know she's married, but like I know we're married in some other way, in some very spiritual way. And so that's one thing I guess we'll just segue into it. I know we had like jot notes and points on like how we're going to talk about this, but I think it'll be so interesting. So I'll ask you, do you think blood is thicker than water?
That's a very hard question. That's very hard. I feel like I've heard that saying like my whole entire life, blood is thicker than water. And then you watch movies like Animal, where it's like, Mera Khandan, Mera Bhai, Mera cousin, and they're like,
I didn't expect her to like refer this to Animal. Okay, out of all movies, not like Kabhi Khushi Kabhie Gham, she went straight to Mera Khandan.
I actually don't.
Mera
because
Papa.
it's so ridiculous, like to save their family, ki, like, is it they're like, main tumhe maar dunga, meri family is everything. It's like, okay, relax. Like, literally, not everything is about like your khandan. There's a whole other world out there. And like, yeah, anyway. I don't really have an answer to this, but I do think that people, especially when I hear your story about adoption, like, I feel like as a mom, I can kind of relate it to the way that, of course, I love having my own children. I love, I have so much love to give them. And obviously you feel a sense of like love and belonging with them. But at the same time, God forbid, I know a lot of people go through things where they can't have children and they go through IVF and they go through a lot of different processes. They have so much love to give. That love is still there and it's being ready to be given to a child out there, right? And like, I feel like when those people, especially go and they adopt a child, like that love is the same as the love that I would have for a biological child. Because it's a void that child is filling. Like, they still have that love to give, right? And they choose to give it to, and then they are big people because of that whole taboo thing of like, oh, I don't want to adopt because like it's like in South Asia that kind of exists. But that's just my opinion. So I do think specifically when it comes to adopting children, like I definitely don't think blood matters in that sense at all, because the parents who do it, like, they're amazing. Like, props to them. And I think there's no difference between how I love my child and how your parents love
there literally is no difference. I see the way Maha is with Aliza. Can I say your daughter? With Aliza or Aizen. I see how she is with her kids, and it's like, it's the same love I see that my parents have for me. It doesn't matter if we're biological or not. And like, to be very honest, like I did a question on, sorry guys, my phone sticks to this. I did a question on Instagram where I'm like, do you believe blood is thicker than water? If so, do you talk to everyone you are related to and have a positive relationship with them? I know you all know my viewpoint. I believe love is thicker than blood, but definitely want to hear your stories or like your conversations about this. And a lot of people, you know, it's amazing, like a lot of people responded and they're like, love is thicker than bond. And people always say that like they've been through their own personal problems, their own personal issues, even with like parents or grandparents or family or brothers and sisters and siblings. It just carries on. Like, even if you are biological to someone and you are their blood, I still believe, this is my personal opinion, I believe you genuinely choose who your family is going to be. Just because they're blood doesn't mean that they're family. If you truly, you know, have a relationship with them and there's love and so much respect and loyalty, I think that is what makes a family. And it was so amazing to read all these comments from people who literally said, like, look, read this.
Blood doesn't make you family, loyalty does. That's true.
Yeah, I 100% feel love is thicker. Some friends are family, but relatives are strangers. It's so true.
That's true. For some people, like, you're kind of related to somebody. Let's say you have like some distant fucking cousin. Sorry, can I?
Yeah. It's our first podcast. We're trying to figure it
out. You have some distant cousin out there, and like you've never seen them, right?
Yeah.
You don't even know who they are.
Yeah.
You don't have a close friendship with them.
Yeah.
And then you have friends who are like, I'm sharing my daily life with you. You know, you're actually a part of my life. You're loyal. You've been there for me forever. So yeah, like, you have a lot of blood relatives.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's a very far-fetched, like, thing. I don't think you can have a really strong relationship with all of them.
Yeah. Like, my dad taught me this. He goes, just because somebody, like, this is my dad's perspective and the relationship we have. He's like, I don't care who the person is. If they don't respect you, you don't need to, no one's saying you have to disrespect them, but you don't have to be around them. True. And he believes in that when it comes to blood or when it comes to like anybody you come across in life. Yeah. And genuinely, like, one of the things, like, this is a random fact, it's just coming to my head right now. So when my family adopted me, not even one person in the family, not even grandparents or any relatives had any objection to the adoption. You know, like, amazing. Sometimes you'll have someone who says, you know, why not adopt a boy, or why not, you know, try something else, or like keep trying, maybe the kid will happen. But I was very blessed and lucky where there was a whole family that didn't find it wrong. And I think in turn, I got even more love for being adopted, not pitied. That's, you know, I think it's a fine line. I got even more love. And that's why I actually talk about it a lot. Like, a lot of people might be like, oh, are you trying to find sympathy for your adoption story? No, it's not about that. It's about just vocalizing how beautiful it truly is. Like, the reasoning for it is sad. You know, kids being given up for a reason, either because of health or money, whatever it is, it's very sad. But adopting a child, giving them a loving home is so important. And it's so true. Like, the way you love your kids, I see my parents loving me the exact same. And I find it as such a beautiful thing. And you know how I had it on my veil? There were some people in like comments that were like, why would she write that on her veil? You know, she wants to make her whole life is about adoption.
But
she
your
only
whole
talks about adoption.
Is actually about, like, no, but like, actually it is about adoption. You're not making it. You're not like trying to like get money off of it. This is not what she's doing. Like, literally, if you were adopted, that is your whole life. Like, somebody took you in. Like, I can't even imagine how that would feel like, where they took you in and like they made you their own, and like that is so special. That is something I can imagine. I would talk about it for the rest of my life. Like when you told me, I think you told me way later on. I didn't even know. Like when I met you, I was like, oh cool, those are our parents. Like cool. Like that doesn't click to you. And then when you shared that with me, I was like, no. Right? Like you go into shock because you don't think about it. And I mean, at that point, I mean, even now, I don't think I actually know anybody who's adopted.
Yeah.
Right? I think you're the only person in my life who
I think I met one person in my life who is.
As far as I know, it's not very common.
Yeah, it's not.
So that was a very special story. I think that's still something that fascinates me about you, and I've known you forever. Yeah. So no, that's your identity. Like I don't think
it is my identity. That's what like I always think about. Like so cool. People are like, why are you saying it again and again? Because it hits a different audience each time, and each time I'm hitting someone who might understand and open their hearts more to what it actually is, rather than the whole taboo, mentality of what people assume it is. And again, like we said, like this right here to me is thicker than anything else. Like this to me is my relationship. This is my sister.
I mean, that seems like to me somebody came to me and they're like, why do you always talk about being a mom?
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, because I am a mom. Like, that's literally my identity. Yeah. I can't ignore that I'm a mom. Like, that's a whole other thing. Like, I would have to literally set aside, like, a whole part of me and pretend. I would feel so empty without
You'd
that.
You'd feel empty without it,
like, it's something is part of your identity.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to milk being a mom, right? Like that's
just our mom.
I just am. I'm not trying to get sympathy. Yeah. I'm not being like, oh my god, I'm a mom. Please sympathize with me. Like no,
And I would say to people, like anyone who looks at whenever I post about my adoption story and it's like, oh, you're like asking for sympathy. I'm like, the fact that you think it's something to sympathize with is the issue. I don't think it's sympathy. I think it's beautiful. So if you're looking at it as like, oh my God, you want a pity party? No, there is no pity party. I share my life with you guys. You've seen my life. There is no pity party. It's just more of like, let me educate you guys on what it actually is.
And I think obviously it spreads a good word because there was so much taboo about it in our past generation. In the future, we're all growing up, we're all doing new things, we're all learning new things, and I think it's good to know that these options exist. A lot of people are choosing to have kids a lot later in their life, right?
My God, yes.
That's the thing. A lot of people are getting married later. A lot of people are not getting married. This is also
what do you think about people getting married later?
I mean,
it's their life.
Yeah, like the world has changed a lot, and it's unless you find the right person, I can totally see why you would want to get married. Right? I got married when I was 27, but then I knew my husband for like ages, right? Yeah. But if I'm starting from scratch and I'm dating or whatever, like I wouldn't want to jump into something like marriage is a really big decision. So a lot of people are getting married late. Some people are choosing not to get married, and that doesn't mean that you don't like have kids. Like some people want to be single and still have a kid and adopt, right?
I've actually come across that. Sorry to interject. I had to learn that there's people out there who don't ever want kids, that are okay with marriage, love to get married. They don't want kids, are happy to be the fun aunts or uncles. And it was just learning like the different lifestyles, and it's so eye-opening. And that's the thing, like you can get married whenever you want. You decide whenever you want, whenever you're ready. Those society pressures are horrible. Did anyone ever pressure you? No.
No, but it was just a thing that like you're supposed to get married, you're supposed to have kids. Like that was just the linear kind of way of living your life. Yeah. And that's what we were told and we kind of followed it. Luckily I found someone that I wanted that with. But like I can see why for some reason, like for some people, that's not in their cards. Like it's a big decision. I think it's as big as having kids. You're going to share your whole entire life with somebody. Like I get that. But anyway, I was saying that there's lots of different ways to kind of live your life. People are making a lot of different choices now. There's all kinds of families out there. So I think what you're doing is you're kind of eliminating that taboo of being like, hey, it's okay if you can't have kids. It's okay if your so-called biological clock ran out or whatever. You know what? Adoption is a real option for you. And I think you're normalizing it. And that's great. Like, you should normalize it, right? There should be nothing negative that we hold against that. You know, it's a good thing. It's a good deed. So I don't see why anybody would have a problem with it.
I adopted her a long time ago as my sister. Speaking of all of this, of like things that I've been speaking about that are vocal, that are life-changing, I actually look at Maha and I believe that she has changed like obviously she's changed my life, but she has changed the lives of so many. She was actually the first, and I'm going to say it, like genuinely, I don't know if I ever said this to you. Sorry. She's like, what's coming to you? Fuck off.
I don't know it
either. She was the first Pakistani that I had seen posting all these dance videos who's into dance.
Oh, yeah.
With beautiful support coming from every angle, like her family, everything, like every angle. And I was like, damn, like it's so different, because growing up you would see like, you know, a lot of comments and a lot of negativity within your own community. You get that. I get it within the South Asian community. She gets it within her own community. You know, people look at dance and they view it as not as art, but they view it as something that is so negative, and or something that people use to, you know, provide for themselves or whatever it is. But the way she has done it is so beautiful. She teaches so many people. She has taught me. Her dance, every movement has so much love and passion and art attached to it. But I wanted to ask you, like, how tough was it for you in the beginning when you did post any of your dance videos, be it like her wedding dance video, by the way, I'm going to link it down below. But her wedding dance video, when you started getting comments of like negative comments saying things to you that were not nice. Pretty much, like,
yeah, like I'm not a social media influencer, obviously, so I wasn't comfortable with that. Obviously, I wasn't aware how much negativity you actually get or whatever, but it was hard at first because I was expecting it. First of all, growing up in a Muslim community, I already know kind of what kind of issues are there with posting stuff like dance. I mean, even now I see like Pakistani celebrities, they'll go and they'll post stuff.
Oh my
and,
God,
like,
I saw that too. Someone's wedding. Like, I think it was 2 Pakistani actresses.
Yeah, the amount of trolling, like, I have to give it to Pakistani celebrities. There's a lot of trolling. Like, they're like, don't wear these clothes, don't, like, why do you party? Why do you wear these clothes? Why do you dance? Oh my God.
Oh my God, I saw the Lenga conversation.
Yeah, there's a lot about the clothes. Like, why are you wearing a choli? Like, that's not our traditional outfit. Why are you wearing dresses? So there is a lot of like trolling involved there. And like, I mean, if celebrities are getting it, like, obviously regular people are gonna get it too. Dance is definitely a very taboo thing. It's growing now. I've seen a lot of people being comfortable now, but I think back in the time that I posted it, I was like, okay, 100% people are gonna be like, why is her bride dancing so much? Why is she even dancing?
Why is she so happy?
Why is she dancing more than her friends? Why is she happy? Why does she have a smile on her face? The weirdest comments came, like, yeah, it was very awkward. But at the same time, I'm so happy I put myself out there because that led to so many more things. Like, I felt so comfortable teaching dance after that. And it was like such a success and it made me so motivated after that. So, really, if you're putting yourself out there, you actually have to ignore the negativity. I know. And you have to be aware of like what kind of comments are going to come through. And you should just like, you literally put like a shield in front of you and you're like, okay, I'm gonna post this with like a shield up because I'm just gonna literally move it like out of the way and only accept the nice accepting like positive comments because you literally have to put a shield up. Like, you have to almost be numb, I feel, to the negativity because you're like, no, like, I don't believe in this. I'm just gonna focus on the people who are like, oh, you look so happy. Wow, I like your dress. Because that kind of stuff is like,
I think it's so important. Just be a good human being. Like, and I'm realizing like how difficult that is, you know, for a lot of other people. Just be a good human being. If you don't like something, why do you need to make a comment about it? But unfortunately, we know that stems from like generation of being talked down to. So yeah, like I look at something and I might not agree with it or whatever, I don't comment. I just kind of like scroll past it. If you don't like her dancing, just don't watch it. You're watching it for a reason. Like,
it's true. And I think this is a big cultural difference between India and Pakistan too, because I've always known, like, with India, dancing is part of your culture. Like, you guys go to Bharatanatyam classes, like, as if it's ballet and, like, you start at, like, 3-4 years old. Like, this is actually part of your culture. Bollywood is part of your culture. In Pakistan, that is not part of your culture. Dancing is not a thing. Unfortunately, dancing is only related to, like, item numbers and, like, you know, doing it in a inappropriate way, I guess, right? Like, it's not associated as an art per se. Not always.
You're talking like more like basically, I'm just making it like referring it back to a movie like Hira Mandi, like something like that. Okay.
Definitely, yeah. It was an art, but it's just now it's taken very not like an art, I guess. So because it's not really part of our culture, it's very hard to like face to be like, oh, accept this. I'm putting on my dance. I need everybody to accept it, because it's like, even if you're doing it in a very appropriate, quote unquote way, you're still gonna get comments to be like, this is inappropriate. You shouldn't even be dancing, right? And that's not true. You should, any art form that you are good at, you should be sharing no matter what, right?
As long as it's not affecting anyone negatively. Like, you're not out there going, I'm gonna go hurt someone, I'm gonna harm someone. You're being a good human being, sharing what you love to do, and there should be absolutely nothing wrong with that.
And I think it's not even understood as an art form, right? Because really, you're choreographing a dance. It's an art. Like, there's a whole thought process that actually goes behind that. It's not just like, oh, I want to look good, I'm just gonna like shake my booty, right? Like, that's not, it's not that simple. It really isn't. Like, you really, like, dancers see the same thing as like a painter would see, right? They see the same thing as like what a writer sees in its creative writing. Like, it actually truly is an art form, and it's really sad that it's not.
I think that's such a beautiful way to describe it.
Because like when I imagine, when I listen to music, I literally feel like it's like dancing with cursive in my head, like the way somebody would be doing like calligraphy. Like, it's very hard to explain, but it's like it's like very different. I don't see it as like like some girls on the floor, like, I don't know, twerking. Like, it's not, I don't see it just as that black and white. And I can see that not everybody would agree with that, but
well, I find it so beautiful what she's doing. But damn, we literally thought this was going to be like a couple of minutes, and it ended up being like a whole thing. But yeah, that's our first video, our first podcast, guys. And genuinely hope you enjoyed this and learned more about Maha and I. And that's why we named this podcast From Lahore to Delhi, because I think it is such a phenomenal, I think it's a phenomenal name, because it gives two different lifestyles. Like, here, you know, she talked about her culture, and, you know, I kind of brought in my culture. And I think it's so important to mix and talk about it together, because in the end, I believe that we are all one. And as long as we're human beings, you know, I think that's all that matters. We all bleed the same way, like Shakespeare. In Shakespeare, it's written that way. We bleed the same way. It doesn't matter who you are. So I think it was very important to talk about this stuff, and I'm so happy I talked about it with my best friend.
Yes, me too. Oh, sorry to take you.
But until then, we'll see you guys very, very soon. And if you guys have any other conversations or comments or things you want to talk about, or anything you want to advise on, or give us your opinions on, please comment down below. We would love to hear you out. But yeah, we'll be trying to do this once a week. If not once a week, once every 2 weeks.
We love talking, so
clearly
share stuff with us.
Share stuff with us, clearly. But thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.